Hello everyone, welcome back to Ilium Biology. So with this class we are going to start a topic on disaccharides. It's a request to you to please go through our videos on monosaccharides, especially on the glucose, so that you can easily understand these topics. So first of all, what are disaccharides? See, whenever two monosaccharide units of sugar react with each other, they form a disaccharide. As the name suggests, mono means single. That means a molecule with one saccharide unit. When this monosaccharide reacts with another monosaccharide, a disaccharide, di means two, a disaccharide is formed. It is a dimer of two monosaccharides. That means two sugar units are combinedly called as disaccharide. Now consider this as an example. Say this is the glucose molecule. It is a monosaccharide and fructose is another monosaccharide. So now when these two monosaccharides are combined, they react with each other forming a disaccharide. And when these two monosaccharides react with each other, dehydration occurs. A water molecule is lost. This is called as dehydration or condensation reaction, and a disaccharide is formed. Now whenever chemical reaction takes place, there is always a bond formation, and in this case the bond is formed between carbon number 1 and carbon number 2. OH present on carbon number 1 and OH present on carbon number 2. These two react with each other forming this kind of bond. Now see, this is carbon, this is oxygen, and this is carbon. So this bond that has formed is in between carbon, oxygen and carbon. This is called as glycosidic bond, a carbon oxygen carbon linkage, a linkage of carbon, oxygen and carbon. And in these reactions there is always a dehydration, that means a loss of a water molecule. Now this disaccharide that is formed in this case is called as sucrose. On the basis of which carbon are taking part in the reaction, these glycosidic bonds are of various types in various kinds of disaccharides that we will discuss later. Now starting with the basic examples of disaccharides, we have sucrose, maltose, isomaltose, lactose, trehalose, cellobiose and lactulose. So these are different kinds of disaccharides. In this video we are discussing about sucrose, maltose, isomaltose and lactose, and in the next video we are discussing about trehalose, cellobiose and lactulose. So let's start with sucrose. As we discussed initially in this video, sucrose is formed when glucose reacts with fructose. Now I am getting a bit deeper. The glucose that takes part in sucrose formation is basically alpha D glucose. Now in case you don't know what is an alpha glucose or a D glucose, go through our videos on isomers or in monosaccharides that I have already uploaded. You can go through those videos to understand the basic differences between alpha glucose, beta glucose, D glucose or L glucose. So this is alpha D glucose. This alpha D glucose reacts with beta D fructose. So there is a difference. Remember, the glucose in this case is alpha and fructose in this case is beta. When these two take part in the reaction, they form a disaccharide called as sucrose. And as I already discussed, there is always loss of a water molecule called as dehydration synthesis, and sucrose is formed. This is a glycosidic bond that is formed between alpha D glucose and beta D fructose. Now how to name this glycosidic bond? Listen to me very carefully. Now carbon number 1 in glucose, see, this is glucose and this is fructose. Now how did I identify that which one is glucose and which one is fructose? You can very well appreciate that in this ring there are 6 members, 1 oxygen and 5 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 carbon and 1 oxygen. So this is a 6-membered ring, and similarly this is a 5-membered ring. 1 oxygen and 1, 2, 3, 4. So total 5 members are present, 1 oxygen and 4 carbon. So 5-membered ring. A 5-membered ring, as I discussed in the previous videos, is called as furanose, which is a feature of fructose, and a 6-membered ring is called as pyranose, which is a feature of glucose. So just by looking at the ring, the number of members inside the ring, you can easily find out that whether it is glucose or fructose. Now As I told you, this is glucose, this is fructose. So the carbon number first of glucose is taking part in the reaction, and carbon number 2 of fructose is taking part in this reaction. So this bond, this glycosidic bond that is formed here is called as alpha 1 beta 2 glycosidic bond. Now why alpha 1? Because this is alpha glucose and this is beta fructose. So the first carbon of alpha glucose and the second carbon of beta glucose are taking part in this bond formation. So this is called as alpha 1 beta 2 glycosidic bond, and this is a sucrose molecule. Now how to find out the chemical formula of sucrose? See, glucose and fructose, as we all know, are isomers of each other, and they both have the same formula, C6H12O6. Now there is a question for you in this video. You have to tell me which kinds of isomers are glucose and fructose. Do tell us in the comment section that which type of isomers are glucose and fructose. Now when C6H12O6 reacts with another C6H12O6, that is glucose and fructose, there is dehydration synthesis, that is loss of a water molecule. So what you have to do in order to find out the formula of sucrose, just add both of them. C6H12O6 plus C6H12O6 means C12H24O12. But as we all know, during the disaccharide formation there is always dehydration, that is loss of a water molecule. So just deduct 2 from hydrogen and 1 from oxygen. So that would give you C12H22 and O11, and that's how you remember the chemical formula of sucrose. No need to mug up all the chemical formulas. So this is sucrose. Now the other names of sucrose by which we recognize them in our daily routine life. The first name is table sugar. This is the sugar that we consume in our kitchen, that we use in our kitchen. This is called as table sugar, and table sugar is basically sucrose only. And cane sugar, that's because sucrose is present in sugar cane, and we all know this table sugar is derived from sugar cane only. Let's study about the hydrolysis of sucrose. Now whenever there is hydrolysis of any disaccharide, it gets hydrolyzed into its monomers. The monomers that formed sucrose were glucose and fructose. So the hydrolysis of sucrose would give us glucose and fructose. This solution that is formed here is an equimolecular mixture of glucose and fructose, that is glucose and fructose are present in equal concentrations, and this solution is called as invert sugar. There is a big confusion amongst the students. See, most of the students think that sucrose is the invert sugar. No, sucrose is not called as the invert sugar. Invert sugar is basically the equimolecular mixture of glucose and fructose which is formed by the hydrolysis of sucrose. So this is invert sugar, and sucrose is not the invert sugar. The enzyme that catalyzes this reaction is sucrase, and it is also called as invertase. Sucrase is based on the name of the substrate, and invertase is based on the name of product, because it forms the invert sugar, that is glucose plus fructose. Now the question that arises in our mind is why this solution is called as invert sugar. Now why it is called as invert sugar? That's because of the change in the optical rotation. See, sucrose basically is a dextrorotatory product. It's a dextrorotatory sugar with the optical rotation of plus 66.5 degree. And the products that are formed by this hydrolysis is glucose and fructose, and we all very well know that glucose is dextrorotatory with optical rotation of plus 52.5 degree, but fructose is levorotatory with an optical rotation of minus 92.4 degree. Now in this case, plus 52.5 and minus 92.5, that means the net result is minus. That means the net result is minus, that is levo-rotation. So before start of the reaction, the compound was dextrorotatory and the product is net levorotatory. That means the optical rotation has changed from plus to minus, that is dextrorotatory to levorotatory. That means there is an inversion of optical rotation. That's why this product is called as invert sugar, which is an equimolecular mixture of glucose and fructose. So the hydrolysis of sucrose brings about a change in the sign of rotation from dextrorotatory to levorotatory, and that's why the product is called as invertase, and that's why the invert sugar, and that's why the enzyme is called as invertase. Now the best example of invert sugar that we daily consume is honey. Honey is an example of invert sugar, and that is the reason why it is sweeter than sucrose. Remember, fructose is sweeter than sucrose. That's why invert sugar is sweeter than sucrose. So that's all about sucrose. Let's start with the lactose. Now first of all, origin of the name. Lact is a word which means milk, and ose, as I already told you, is a suffix used for sugar. That means lactose is basically milk sugar. And why is this called as milk sugar? That's obviously because it is present in milk. Now in this case, in the case of lactose, the monomers are beta D galactose and beta D glucose. This is beta D galactose and beta D glucose. Both of them are in the beta form, and in this case carbon first of galactose and fourth carbon of glucose forms the bond, and that's why the bond in this case is called as beta 1,4 glycosidic bond, because both the sugars, both the monosaccharides are in the beta form, plus carbon number first and fourth are taking part in the reaction. That's why it is called as beta 1,4 glycosidic bond. And what is the chemical formula for lactose? See, galactose is C6H12O6 again, and glucose is also the same, plus there is always dehydration during the formation. That means again the formula for lactose is C12H22O11. And again, glucose and galactose are isomers of each other. So do comment in the comment section, that's what kind of isomers are glucose and galactose. Now this is C12H22O11 called as milk sugar. Next is maltose. Now maltose, alpha D glucose and alpha D glucose. Now in this case both the monomers are same, alpha D glucose and alpha D glucose. And which carbon are involved in the reaction? In this case the first carbon, and in this case the fourth carbon. Both the molecules are in alpha form, so this bond is called as alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. See, that's a very easy task. All you need to remember is basically which carbon are involved in the bond formation, and that's how the bonds are named as. Again, the chemical formula would be the same, C12H22O11. The next is isomaltose. See, this is maltose and the next is isomaltose. Now as the name suggests, this is an isomer of maltose. That means the monosaccharides are same. In this case also you would find that alpha D glucose and alpha D glucose are the monosaccharides. Now in maltose the monomers were alpha D glucose and alpha D glucose, and in isomaltose also alpha D glucose are the monomers involved. But there is a difference. Now what is the difference? Now in the first glucose molecule, first carbon is involved, and in the second glucose molecule, sixth carbon is forming the bond with the first carbon of another glucose molecule. In the case of maltose, fourth carbon was involved, but in the case of isomaltose, sixth carbon is involved. That's why the bond is called as alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. The bond is called as alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. Now there is a polysaccharide, there are some polysaccharides in which this bond is present, alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. You have to answer me in the comment section that which polysaccharides also have this bond, alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. So isomaltose have alpha 1,6 glycosidic bond. Again the formula would be the same, C12H22O11. Now whenever there is hydrolysis of starch and glycogen, isomaltose is formed by the partial hydrolysis, and isomaltose, when this is hydrolyzed, it would be hydrolyzed into its two monomers, that is glucose, and the enzyme that is involved is oligo 1,6 glucosidase, which is present in the intestinal juice. In our digestive system that we study in class 11th, we study that whenever starch is hydrolyzed, it is hydrolyzed in the form of maltose, and this maltose is converted to glucose by an enzyme called as maltase. Now that is also correct, but isomaltose is also formed, and isomaltose is then hydrolyzed by oligo 1,6 glucosidase. Now listen to this slide very carefully. There is something very important that I am discussing it right now. This is lactose, as we studied. This is lactose. Now the functional group that is present in the monosaccharides is always present on the first carbon. The functional group present in the monosaccharides are always present on the first carbon. See, this is the first carbon. This is the first carbon which is attached to the that is attached to the functional group. See, this is galactose. So this is the functional group. This is glucose. Again, this is the functional group which is attached on the first carbon. In the case of lactose, listen to this very carefully. In the case of lactose, the functional group which is attached on the first carbon is involved in the bond formation. But the functional group of glucose is free. This is free because the fourth carbon is making the bond. That's why lactose is a reducing sugar. That's because lactose has got a free aldehyde group in glucose, which is very clear from this picture. Listen to this carefully again. This is the functional group that is free in the case of lactose. That's why lactose is a reducing sugar. Let's discuss about maltose. In the case of maltose, the functional group of this glucose is involved in bond formation. In this case, the functional group is free. That's why maltose is again a reducing sugar. This is isomaltose. In the case of isomaltose, the functional group is involved in the bond formation. The functional group is free. This is a free functional group because the sixth carbon is making the bond. That's why isomaltose is a reducing sugar because of the presence of a free aldehyde group. This is the case of sucrose. Now in the case of sucrose, the functional group in the case of alpha D glucose is involved in bond formation, and the functional group that is present in beta D fructose. Now in the case of fructose, which is a keto sugar, the functional group is present on the second carbon. See, this is the second carbon which is forming the functional group, which is attached to the functional group. Now in this case, this is also involved in bond formation, and in the case of glucose, this is also involved in the case of bond formation. So in sucrose, both the functional groups are involved in bond formation, and that is the reason why sucrose is a non-reducing sugar, because it has got no free reducing group. So remember, lactose, maltose and isomaltose are reducing sugar, but sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. Now one more question for you. There is one more disaccharide which is also non-reducing. Come in the comment section and do tell me about the disaccharide other than sucrose that is non-reducing. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching us. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Do stay connected with me for more such interesting biological videos. Thank you.